We're live. Welcome to everyone who is watching us today. I'm so happy to have Phil and Dimitar today with us. It's a massive honor. Thank you guys for being here. This is amazing. It's our second Chaos Talks for 2026. And it's now part of the CG Connect platform and community. So yeah, again, thank you for joining us. My name is Joanna. I'm behind the scenes at CG Connect. And today with us, we have Fiorit, who is our host. And we have Dimitar, who is a co-founder of Redvertex. I bet you all know the company, and he's going to say a few things about it. So it's going to be a really nice talk, very honest, very open about the industry, about what it is to be part of the CGI industry currently, and they're gonna speak frankly about it. It's gonna be very interesting, so I hope everyone enjoy it, and you two guys as well. I really hope we all have fun. It's gonna be really nice. I'm gonna hide myself now, and I'm gonna leave you to this chat. I'll be in the comments. So in case everyone has a question or a comment or want to be part of the discussion, I'll be here supporting the community, supporting you too as well. So yeah, have fun and enjoy it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joanna. Hey, Dimitar.
Hi.
First thing I want to know is, how did your barbecue turn out? The last time we chatted.
It was late. It was late. My daughter impatient. She was not sad. She was furious. She cursed a couple of times. I went to bed.
Oh no. So, and just for clarity, what is your preferred method for barbecuing? Is it gas? Is it charcoal? Is it wood? Is it pellet system?
The best option is on wood, natural wood.
Yep.
Charcoal, I don't love it so much because it's moisture with some other chemicals. But to be honest, on day-to-day, it's the electrical grill. It's wonderful. The big secret is don't clean your electrical grill. It has to be old, dirty, and oiled.
And all of that previous barbecue gets mixed in.
Yes, absolutely.
So you use electric grill with a bit of wood, like a bit of wood for natural smoke and slow barbecue? That's great.
The most important thing is to have the time with people, to have joy about it. I loved our conversation the last time.
You're a deeply technical person, but you make slow barbecue.
I don't know if I'm technical. I know that I'm not patient. I'm not patient, and I love to do the things, not to discuss too much. I just make the fire, and I just make it. Doesn't matter. Maybe a little bit burned. Maybe not everything is ready, but we are going one after another.
But to make good barbecue, you have to go slow, and you're not patient. How does that work out?
It does not always work well.
You're supposed to leave it alone and not pick at it, right? You've got to really just let it go, but sometimes you want to pick it before it's done.
Generally, I rush everyone around me on any topic.
Yep.
I'm just rushing. Our time on Earth is limited, so we have to use it as much as possible the right way.
Well, that gets to the heart of the conversation. So you studied architecture. If everyone wants to open up another browser tab, go over to redvertex.com. You won't see anything on the cover page. And I was joking to the guys about chaos about that. There's no images on the cover page. It's very minimal. And then go look at some of the projects. You've been doing this, I think you're coming up, you started in 2008. So we're looking at nearly 20 years.
I'm a graduated architect.
Yep.
But only on my second year, I was no more interested of the design process itself and the construction part. the very beginning, when I applied for architecture, it was because of the art and the sketching, and the sketchings and the forms and the colors. But I was not good enough to be a real artist, according to my mindset. At that time, the competition in the art universities, they have been very tough. So I just have not been skillful enough or artistical enough. So I started the architecture, but from the very beginning, the second year, I put all of my efforts on the new technologies. I fall in love with the CAD softwares, with the scriptings, with the Autolist, with drafting. Then first attempts under the DOS, the DOS operating system, the 3D Studio for DOS, the first attempts, the first book, no internet, just reading and trying. And the most important thing, alone. And alone, in many situations, sounds, wow, this is the freedom, this is the right choice. This was the most stupid things that I have did at that time, because all of my colleagues and friends that have been together or moved to a company together, they grown faster and faster. And very easily, I found myself as an underdog that needs to chase the rest. And a long time ago, I have found the truth that you have to be together with people and sharing the knowledge between each other if you want to be a high flyer. And my mentor in that time, in an in-house architectural company, as an in-house renderers, she told me something that I still remember very well. Freelancing is killing the talents. This was something I heard 1999, just before the Prince issued his song. 1999. Freelancing is killing the talents. When we are together, we are growing and growing. So as an in-house guy, in a mixture at that, I'm talking about 25 years ago, a mix between architectural assistant role and visualization role, I have found out that as an in-house personality, you are not able to excel your skills as a 3D artist, as you are always pushed on day-to-day deadlines, just to deliver till the last minute what's changed in the architectural design. So you are always submitting mediocre works, always. Nothing changed.
You're just working on what they're giving you. You're not able to do other work.
Absolutely. There is something which was quite nice at that time, that when you are an in-house artist, usually you are really valuable, and you just do what they give you, and at the end of the day you rush to the cafe and to the bar, and you don't care what's going on, because the responsibilities were always going through the design team and the design lead, and you are just supporting this process. The good thing is that I've met another guy in the same company called Dimitar Rashkov. He came as a very young student, and he destroyed my heaven. He was so passionate to grow, to develop himself, so he destroyed my work-life balance and start pushing us to create something new, to jump on another level. At that moment, we hit some limits visually, because we were rendering with the 3ds Max scanline render.
This is circa 98, 99?
No, it was 2002 to 2003 already.
Okay, got it.
And I love to use extensive Photoshop, extensive post-production, and a lot of Photoshop. And we call it the global illumination, the manual global illumination, dodge and burn tool on the corners of the buildings, pam, 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 pam. with the big brush.
Yep.
But this was the limit, and my colleague Diane, he started pushing me so hard. There is something new. There is something called V-Ray. I hate it. I really hate it. I didn't want to change anything. I told you, instead of learning something new, just let's be a little bit more passionate in Photoshop. It will be okay.
Right.
So sometimes you need somebody to wake you up. And this is my colleague, Diane, that we are together for 22 years now. We are together for 22 years, never had any kind of argue. We have never pretend to be a kind of a big friends. We are a little bit different type of personalities, but this is not necessary. There is
He's a little younger?
10 years younger.
Same, 10 years younger. So
yeah.
Wait a minute. So you became freelancers? Kind of. At some point, freelancing destroyed the industry, but at some point you had to become an entrepreneur and start your own business in order to pursue the direction you thought it should go.
When the idea came, we didn't rush. We made probably the best barbecue in our life. We gave us approximately of 1 year for a test ride. We continue doing the same kind of work, trying to find out some in-house processes that will work separately. We were testing a team and people that will join immediately with us. It was a 1 year test period. So the moment we did a refurbishment of an old apartment in the downtown, the moment we did the refurbishment, sold one old garage space, and with the money from this garage space, we bought computers, and we entered a team of 10 people together simultaneously. It was all tested before very well, before we jumped together on the task. And something very important. This is a classical topic which is very important. We have not been entrepreneurs. We didn't found a new service that we will sell to the people. No, we just received thousands and thousands of demands that naturally led us to create something new and to cover a new service. This is something that I'm absolutely sure and confident is the wrong side of the business nowadays. That I have an idea for some stupid triangle sunglasses. Nobody needs them. But then I will find funds to teach everyone.
Get startup money.
Startup, but this is not business. Nobody needs them. At the end of the day, the startup money are drained and nobody needs these stupid details. So why?
So you waited until you had demand, and you let the demand drive the business.
Yes, exactly.
But the demand was also aligned with your skills, with your interests, with your curiosity.
You let your product, your skills, your product, your energy to generate demands. If there are no demands, this is not a business. Nowadays, I don't believe in that. There is an entrepreneurs organization. They just generated another 2 million investors. What the fuck? You don't own your business. This is not a business model.
You've just sold your business and now you're working for investors.
Absolutely. And it's a rush. It's a fake story of fast money. There is no such thing. For 10 years, we have been working every single day and every single weekend. Never had weekend for 10 years. Never had.
It took 10 years. There's a long burn at the beginning of going, absolutely. I just got to get this. I got to get it up. I got to get it up. Off the runway. There's trees up ahead. 10 years.
Fair. every single month during the first 10 years, at the end of the month, we have been calculated every single penny to cover all the expenses and all the salaries and all the promises about the people, because the people are the most important thing. The people are the most important value. The rest is only some bunch of machines and some softwares without any real value. After 10 years, approximately after 10 years, thing has been really successful, rotating, turning the wheel. So we become
Do you think there was, if we say
a
10
strong
years,
organization.
because I think you started around 2008.
Yes.
So maybe, are you saying it's 2018, 2016 where things really started to click?
Yes.
What was, do you remember anything specific that was like, you know, as they say, you have the tiger by the tail, where something happened and it began, the trajectory began to change?
Let me think. I think that one major change was that during that period, we stopped waiting for outsourced work or other producers or advertising agencies to outsource something to us, and we do what they sent to us.
Ooh,
I
okay.
think this was the change when we packed the backpacks and we start traveling around the world and meeting the people, the clients directly, and to be able to convince all those people that we're working together that there is no need of so much connection between the creative studio and the real client, because there was a period from 2010 to 2020. It was very popular of stage of a connection of production, then outsourcing, then outsourcing, then outsourcing. It becomes a big chain of too much outsourcing, and
Right.
at the end of the day, we finished with a chain of only multiple managers everywhere, and at the end of the day, the 3D artists got the peanuts. Our
Right.
philosophy
Everybody was
was
taking a cut all along that process.
exactly.
But from an entrepreneurial standpoint, I think there's an interesting thing here. When you start a business, you have to say yes to a lot of things. You're just trying to pay bills and keep things going. But at some point, something happens and you say no. And saying no, in your case, maybe it was saying no to the middleman or to the ad agencies. You're like, we're not going to do this way anymore. We're going to go directly to the person that needs the problem solved. Is it saying no that is essential to have this kind of successful business and team? Because you can't say no at the beginning because the money has to come. But at some point, you can choose your customers, you can choose what you're curious about, and you can focus on what you're really interested in and good at.
Yeah. But you have to be very careful, because imagine, and you want to imagine it's a customer in grocery, whatever it is. I don't want to listen no. It's a very tricky approach. You have to have your clear vision. So when we reached our no, this no was only on one topic: no white labeling. We are open for any kind of collaborations, for any kind projects, but no white labeling. That's true. If we do something together, you are the red, we are the blue. Okay, red and blue, they collaborate together with all the belief and all the trust between each other. This is
for anyone that doesn't
important.
know, for anyone listening that doesn't know, what is white labeling, and why was it not in your interest?
White labeling is when you are producing for someone else without putting a stamp or branding or name of you as a
There's no
freelancer
credit. The artist is not
as
getting
a
any
studio.
credit for their
No
work.
credits.
It's not.
No credits.
Yeah. So it might as well be anyone. Yeah.
It can be anyone, but I think that the endless time of the white labeling generally should come to an end, because this is killing the economy. You have the demands for a product, and this product at some point becomes not non-competitive,
Right.
because of his ridiculous price or costs of too many middlemen, too many. At some point, the demand and the execution and the creative, they should communicate directly. Nobody likes it. It's a big it's a big fight on that topic. But patiently with the right approach, with the right communication, proving yourself as a flexible and understanding and smart person, you will be able to make it slowly
the
and
lack
carefully.
of a white label, your logo also says that you're accountable for the work that you've done. You're standing behind it.
Yeah,
I don't know what
yes.
good artist, unless you're just playing background music on the piano for some formal event. You know, it's like, as an artist, you want your brand, you want your name on that for recognition and credibility and accountability and judgment.
Otherwise, while you are young enough, you will move forward only as a flatliner, and then we all forget about the fourth dimension of Albert Einstein. This is the time. Then time comes. You become fat,
Right.
you become slow, and everything is dying. But unfortunately, you are still 45 or you are 50. And if we are happy, there is a lot in life. And you start looking, what shall I do now? So building that personal brand or studio brand is very important for you in a long term.
So,
and sharing the knowledge and be together with the people.
You started Redvertex. You don't have to give away your age. Just give me a range of how old you were when you started the company. And tell me how old your partner was, because he's 10 years younger. We could do the math.
yeah. I'll tell you. Give me okay, 20,
22, 18 years
20.
ago.
I have been 2008. I have been 30 for 72. Okay, 20.
Roughly
I
20
have been around.
roughly 20 years ago.
I have been around 32, and he has been 22.
So this is if you're getting to that point in your artistic career or design career, 32 is a good time where you have energy, but you also have experience, and it's a good intersection. Do you think you could have done this at 42 or 45, or is it too hard at that point?
The strongest. Now we are talking personally about me. My strongest period professionally developing the Redvertex it was between 40 and 50. This was the time when I was living at the airplane, taking a suitcase, landing in LA, renting a studio, finding partners, people, then falling down, then learning the lessons, forget about the money lost, and continue forward. So between 40 and 50, there's
a lot of work.
A lot of work to be done. You're still smart enough, and you need to keep your hunger that you can do something better and better. If we are lucky, there is a lot of time in front of us. And I think that after 50, you have to dedicate your efforts of sharing the knowledge with the next generation of leadership,
Right.
the next generation of professionals. You don't have to be afraid. You have to share as much as possible, supporting the younger energy, all the potential ways, because this will
You're
take
not
a lot
losing
of
anything
time.
by sharing. A lot of people, as you said, like working by yourself or you're kind of hoarding information. Do you lose anything by sharing, or has a creative person already moved on to the next thing and it's okay to share the last thing?
I've never lost anything based on sharing. Never.
Right.
It was always winning. By the way, it might sound silly, but it was always winning. And nowadays, I never regret for the small hurdles, for some parting ways, for competition that has been
Right.
created of impatient colleagues or people. I never regret this. Actually, after years, it's a great lesson for both sides. And I continue begging and recommending the people, unite. This is the
Build that
only way
community and
to do big things. Communities and on projects. I had situations before, 10 years, 15 years ago. Okay, join our team. We just got one new project for 10,000. We have to finish it. I told them, if a project costs 10,000, this means this is a harsh project and it will be very difficult job. It's better to do it with people, with a team. You will not get rich. You will just commit a suicide overnight because of the greediness. This was an issue. Imagine our industry, our community is very young. It started with, I'm not talking about the freelancers only. The first organization, some of the biggest first companies started in UK, in the States. They started 1995, year 2000,
sure.
something like that. This is a very young industry. So we all did a lot of mistakes during our way forward. We have to learn from the past, from other industries. We did a lot of mistakes, and we do some same mistakes now. Now at the moment we do some super silly mistakes. All the young birds, young guys, they become crazy for the last 10, 12 months. Become crazy to sell the idea around the world that there is something that can be created just for one day, overnight, and very, very cheap. And now the whole mindset in our industry, I mean, advertising agency, TV ads, special effects for the movies, architectural visualizations, everywhere, the mindset is it will be very cheap and very fast. And there is a kind of a AI, just click something and it will be ready. The truth is, it does not work like that. It does not work like that. But now the mindset is in that position. And our industry now is crying. It's literally crying, because I can check the emails with an applications. I've never seen such thing before. Hundreds of applications every single day. With the application is AI, the image is AI, everything is AI. I need some work.
Right.
How it will happen?
So
we changed the mindset. We killed the younger blood. They just killed it.
yeah, but the goal, the way I hear you talk, it's the goal is not, I mean, the end product is going to be an image. But what is it about the process and approach that makes a company want to work with Redvertex? What are they going to get that is so compelling that they're not going to choose a freelancer that can type a few prompts in and make it with AI and get it to them the next day or that same day? What is
That
it?
was a topic for the recent 2-3 months, and we have been able to refine it. The only way now, the only way to stay on the market and to be strong is to be exceptionally creative, exceptionally good. But this, I mean, every single person. Unfortunately, with the new tools, 50%, at least 50% of the people in the industry, they are not competitive anymore. There is no chance to survive and to get money anymore with the way that before you just wake up in the morning, you go to work and then you leave your work. There is no chance. The only way is to be super close to the client, to solve problems. I mean, not always problem with which we are very creative. No, it's not very creative. You have to supporting the design process. You have to help them with the complicated the modeling during the process. It's a package. It's a package of flexible tools that you have to support the client and to listen as much as possible and to restart our mindset. Now is the big shoot. For 5 years, it was client is not important, people are the most important thing, work-life balance. Have you seen anything about work-life balance in the recent 6 months on internet? Have you seen anything? Zero. Because we are back to the industry, we are back to the capitalism, and we are back to making money. Because there is no way to play on that string anymore. Client is number one. It was always number one. We never lost it. We never lost it as an idea. Client is number one. You listen carefully and you help and you help and you help. This is the only way. It's at the moment, according to my assessment.
Wait, let me just stop.
It's a bloodbath.
You're saying that the end product as a rendering or an image is now a commodity, but the customer's experience and the customer's journey is the really important part.
The most important part, because very good example. 20 years ago, we all trained to become as good as possible to create beautiful exterior renderings. Modeling then with Photoshop, we started making very nice exterior renderings. Interiors was very difficult, very complicated. The way you will like the scene and to add exceptional details, it was very complicated. What happened for just in 6 months, in 1 year? A company called Evermotion started building a lot of libraries mostly for interiors. Then the V-Ray came with a system of lightening an interior scene. Later on, the Corona, which is amazing for interiors. What happened? Nowadays, interiors are super easy to be created compared to exteriors, especially large-scale exteriors, or if you go to the master planning. Luckily, there are good news. AI is not able to beat the big projects and the big master planning. Well tested, not working.
Not working.
So at the moment is the same type of change of the industry. Now the gap of the mediocre level and top level, it's tightened up because of the
technically it's tighter.
Technically it's tightened up. And especially when it comes for a very small projects, for small images, then the difference becomes of attitude, understanding, listening, design support, the service that you provide. If you are talking just for a product, simply a product will not work, because the consistency of the experience, the consistency is the consistency of the product, the consistency of the communication, the consistency of understanding.
You mentioned earlier that when you guys got together, the 10 of you, and started Redvertex, it was about the energy that you had. So that's part of it as well. It seems like it's not just about the end product. If the end product is becoming a technical commodity, it's about the experience, it's about the energy, it's about the attention to detail.
There was one big difference. I never talked about that 5 years ago, but nowadays, at age of 54, I can finally talk about it. There was one big difference according to many competitive studios growing in that period, and this was my sole personality. In the team, there should be someone which is with extraordinary energy, nasty person, nasty guy with a naughty mindset that is pushing and pushing the limits and squeezing, literally squeezing the teams. And if you get the idea that this is for good and for the success of everyone together, that we are all happy. If you think that somebody is the bad guy or the client is the bad guy, you are never able to collaborate and to create something beautiful. So it was part of the story that we have been together the right type of people, some amazing artistically, some technically, some as organization, and someone really nasty and crazy of what we are doing, sacrificing day-to-day life, sacrificing personal life to kick the doors, to open the doors. You think in another way, in a different way.
Are you saying you have a no asshole rule?
I am the asshole.
Yeah, but I might like to work with you, so it's okay. I mean, the no asshole rule is you hire somebody because they have this amazing technical ability or they can bring in the sales, but they're so caustic and they make people's lives so miserable that it ends up alienating the entire team. So, I mean, I don't think you're an asshole. I've had really hard my best teachers in high school and university, they were tough, but they were fair. And they gave me this sense that, like, if I got an A minus, if I got a B plus, it felt like an A minus. Like, you really had to work hard. So that's just somebody who's tough. But maybe we've gotten away from being afraid in a business environment to be tough. And there's a difference between tough and asshole.
Tough is a better explanation. Okay,
tough but fair.
Exactly. I have been able to sell the idea to our team that it is all fair. We will never let anyone behind. It's for the good for the team, and you have to prove it. And we proved it during the years. And I'm so lucky that at the moment we have maybe more than 30 or 40 colleagues that are more than 15 years together. More than 15 years together, started from university, 15 years together. When you have such a team with 30 or 40 people, this is a culture now. We were building a culture, an old school culture, old school mentality of trust and belief, and people of the strong word and the strong handshake. This was the approach during the years. And even in the tough times, we are sitting face to face and we explained why we have to take those tough decisions, because I have a good experience in 2008, 2010 recession, then the Corona times, and now the Third World War. So we have to learn the lessons and to be very honest all the time, but to have sometimes things are not accidental. Sometimes you match with the right people, sometimes you will try, and it will not happen. What happened in Redvertex is I'm almost zero. It was because from the very beginning there was an amazing team, and this was the idea, to be together with the people and to do good things for their life. And those are people from the universities now with their first home, second homes, marriage, kids. You think about socially how this machine is growing. And I am praying now, I'm praying that soon we will have our first retirements. Some of our exceptional artists, a really exceptional artists, they're now 62, something like that. I want to see it.
You really, do you think how could they retire if they love what they do? How do you stop?
I want to see it. I want to see it on paperwork.
Okay.
When paperwork is done, then we will comment.
They have this position at university like emeritus or like mentor, where you're still kind of involved and you're still curious and still bringing information in. I don't know how someone can actually. I mean, the Rolling Stones haven't retired. They keep trying, but then they keep coming out and playing again. They just
no. Myself, more or less, will stay connected with the people. Never tell. It's mostly because of me, because all those amazing young people, they give me additional energy, new dreams. Yeah. It's like a recharging every single day.
Actually, you're already retired.
Don't tell
I'm convinced
anyone.
You're already retired. That's the trick. Do what you love, and you're already retired. And so, if in your approach to visualization, I don't even call it rendering. You mentioned this importance of storytelling, and maybe that's a differentiator between the commodity of getting an image or a photograph or a rendering and getting something that has an element of storytelling. I guess that draws someone in or that creates the interest that ends up winning the work. What is it about storytelling? Can you get into the essence of that? What does that mean? What are you looking for that tells a story? There's a guy at Corgan named Ludo, and he talks about the element of time in an image. There's something that draws you in that has the element of time. What is it for you?
You have to feel it. You have to be a social person.
Is it empathy?
Feel it.
Is it something about identifying and empathy?
Yes, because you have to create a dream environment, but this environment, to be successful, you have to know it from life. You have to experience it personally. I talked with my uncle. My uncle told me years ago, while he's producing some homemade drinks, he said there is no way to learn craftsmanship remotely from the home office. You have to live it. Imagine we are talking about hospitality, or we are talking about public realm. You have to be out. You have to feel these things. Nowadays, full of images, same type, with the beautiful women, with the magnificent dress somewhere in front. But I know you. I know that you're not going out with these women, and they don't act that way. They don't pose that way. I know that you want them, that you're checking Playboy every single night. But you have to feel it, that this is exactly not natural way. It's not a natural posing. To make it believe, the storytelling, to make it believe and to want to jump into the scene, maybe you need a human that will manipulate the software to make it fully believe. And what changed now, the new technologies, one of the big change, which I love it, by the way, this will make the difference in the industry. The client demands become extremely high. but this is fair. Those that are looking for exceptional product, it is fair that their demands become in unprecedented scale high and high, but that's good. It will make us all better. Maybe some people will not be able to continue, but the rest will have the challenges to become better and better and smarter and smarter.
Do you think this requirement of creating a story that draws people in, this element of storytelling, is one of the big differentiators between having a product that's just a photorealistic rendering and looks, it might be accurate, but it's unnatural, as you say. People don't stand that way in the real life, in the real world. There has to be this kind of natural pose, natural element to it. It has to be authentic. But I should actually go back one, because you're saying that if the person is only focused on their craft and they're not having a full life experience, their craft will suffer.
When you are the end customer, you want to feel the emotion. You want to feel the emotion. You want to jump into the scene. You want to be part of it. You want to recognize friends or families or girlfriend. You want to recognize this emotional scene. And even if the scene is very beautiful, but not authentic, as you said, then the connection, the emotional connection, will not work well. It's
there's no emotional connection.
It's a tricky part. Nowadays, I don't do anything in production anymore. Maybe for the recent 5 years. But when we're sitting and reviewing some projects, that's the mindset. Do you want to jump into the scene or not? Is there anything that is confusing you? Is it your natural feeling, authentic? Do you want to jump in that environment and to meet those people or not? At least this is what in some situations are putting us apart of many other competitors. We believe in the human factor, so we are always during the so-called storytelling, we are always focusing a lot on the human factor, because nowadays even architecture is commodity. The refurbishments, facade refurbishments, every 5-10 years something is refurbished, and if you check, everything is plastic. It's commodity. The big difference is the environment and the public realm and what the people are experiencing. It's all about the people together. So I don't trust so much in the so-called storytelling in vegetation or light or something. We have to recognize each other. We want to be part of the action that we are recreating in front of us. And please, not always beautiful chicks.
Not perfect
everywhere.
Teeth, perfect hair.
Yes.
So, okay. So you're not technically involved as much as you have been, but it sounds like you still know what you like. When you look at an image, it's going to resonate, or there's something that doesn't resonate. Would that be fair?
Yes, I do. And I'm not taking myself apart. And in many sensitive projects, I prefer to be close in the communication all the way and together with the client, and to be available all the time and to review how the process is going on. Because sometimes I have been personally able to know the client personally and emotionally, and I will be able to understand better what he is looking, because it's a tricky thing. We are always commenting, okay, the client, you please stay there. We are the professionals. We will make it for you. People don't like this. Doesn't matter who is the client. He wants to be special. He wants the attention. He wants to be part of the story and the process. He wants to have his touch in the design process, in the small things, in the story. So better experience it together, better play the game together. At the end of the day, the result will be pleasure for everyone.
When you look at an image, you're doing design review, final images, you're doing a review. How quickly do you know you don't like an image?
Just 1 second at the first glance.
Can you point out what it is in the image that doesn't resonate? Or is it an initial feeling? Is it that they call it a blink? It's just like initially like, yeah, something's not right here. 1 second.
This is the first moment. When I feel there is no the emotional connection, then we will sit in front of the screen and start checking maybe the story, maybe the light, maybe the shadows.
So it's the emotional impression first, and then you start looking for the reasons.
Totally.
Okay. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, Dimitar. I'm gonna call you the Rick Rubin of visualization.
No.
You know who Rick Rubin is, right? The producer?
Yeah, but
and
it's
he
not
goes,
about that.
I have no technical ability, but I know what I like. And that's put him at the top of the game.
What helps is a little bit my story from the young age when we have been able to travel to St. Petersburg's, to the big museums, to Paris, to the Louvre, or to the National Gallery in London. I have been obliged by my father to study carefully the books, what we will see, what are the specifics for the different ages, the history of art, then going to check it by personally, then coming back home, check again the books, then sit on the dinner table. What do you remember? What about the story of Caravaggio? Colors, personal story, life, killing. Then what was about Michelangelo? You need some story. I have been lucky, pushed strongly by my family in that direction. And while your kids are growing, they're building these aesthetics. You need to build this foundation of aesthetics. If it's not there, after years, it's a little bit more complicated. You have to grow up with some of the classical art. Then you build your love and understanding for the shape, for the light, the passion of all those people. I've been in Siena together with my daughter. I don't know if you are familiar with the famous cathedral in Siena. That maybe this is for myself in my life, this is the top of the art collected in one place. My daughter was looking left to right, and she's in an art school. She said, I cannot believe that humans are capable to do this. Nowadays, we are just not capable.
I don't think we are nowadays. If you look at...
No.
Yeah. So, some of the technical ability that people had in their 20s, but not just technical ability, and empathy for the human, the way to express things in their sculpture, in their painting. I don't know why we've lost that. Maybe it's just too hard. They say that photography ruined painting. I don't know if that's the case, but I don't know that we have the technical ability to do what has been done a few hundred years ago. We've lost. There's very few that still do it.
The truth is that the life become much more easier, and we naturally love easier things. Myself, I love to be on the sofa, but after 3 days on the sofa, I found my body destroyed. So the way we live is making us more and more lazy and less capable, because laziness is making us less capable. And now, when we have to become extremely competitive on anything, on car product, whoever thought that the car industry, the car building industry will have such a competition coming from China, for instance. So
Right.
if you want to be in that business, you have to put extreme efforts on it. Then the visualization, then the software. Years ago, to achieve certain quality in visualizations, there was no way without V-Ray and without Corona. Was
Right.
absolutely no way. It was a milestone in the industry. Nowadays, from some medium level, you can go directly from your viewport to some AI tools, and you can achieve certain results. So one software start beating another one. So now we have the two digital monsters beating each other.
Well, when you talk about the technical ability of creating art, and this again is just a few hundred years ago that's been lost. Artists had patrons, and in a sense, when you talk about your client, you're almost talking like the client is really the patron, and in some cases, the artist would have to guide the patron into the vision. So, what is it that you do? How do you guide your client and help them understand and help elevate their expectations when they think maybe you have a vision for a certain thing? I don't know if you're trying to convince the client of a certain direction. Is that important? Do you need to be also, as an artist, to your patron, do you have to also help educate them and guide them?
Imagine the personal life. You want to do that. You want to do that. You want to help. You want to help and guide in some situation your friends, your family. You want to help, but you have the skills, the soft skills, to understand if those people are open about it or they are closed. So the tricky business part is to be able to feel the difference, to feel the red line, and at some point not to stress it, because you can make the wrong move and to stress your client that maybe you don't understand him, or maybe you are underestimating his knowledge and some education. Right. So it's a very tricky part to the level of support and advice, and the point that you have to provide the chance for a more input, for some weird ideas. Sometimes the weird ideas are coming in a very harsh manner. Then I call this an invoice stage of the project. So you are just pushing to deliver and to sign the invoice. All those things came during 20 years of experience. We didn't know anything before. It was just experience. And what was the main point from the beginning till now? It's let's try the things better next week. Just for the next week, let's try to do something better. Something better means not only the product, it means listening, to learn something, maybe to try different approach. We had internal decisions to change our approach towards the clients. 50% successful, 50% failure. Then you make a couple of steps backwards. You return back to your original approach. you have to be flexible all the time.
So it sounds like you're trying to very, very carefully well, actually, I should say profoundly listen to what the client is trying to accomplish. And it may not just be the thing that you're doing of making a building. The client has other objectives or goals or desires that you're trying to subtly understand.
Yes, because you want the master chef to understand exactly what the meal you want in the restaurant. And an expensive restaurant, you want to be heard very well. At the end of the day, Redvertex is a business organization. It's a business organization based on art and artistic support. But we are making money, and we have the responsibility for all our people and our families and their loans and their mortgages and so on. So we are a business organization, and that's why we have to be very careful how much we push the limits on the artistic part and how much we are following the client desires.
So you don't want to offer too much unsolicited advice to the customer. You want to let the customer draw you in, and then
I will give you any of my advices based on experience artistically, but then I will carefully assess if you are open for those advices or not.
Right.
If you're not open for those advices, no problem. I'm here to help you, to assist you. I'm listening.
Can we go back to storytelling? And I don't even think I want to open up the can of worms about what you might say about modern art versus classical art. That might be for another spicy conversation. But I do want to know about maybe the last book you read or the movie you saw or the music that you listened to that was very impactful. Artistically, as a story, can you think of and the reason I asked this is when we were first chatting, getting to know each other, I asked you why there was so much realistic special effects, but the stories were shit. And you sort of laughed. And you said, "Okay, we can go in that direction if you want." And we talked about that a little bit. So instead of talking about the bad movies, what is something? It could be a Netflix series, streaming series that you thought the storytelling was just so good, or a book, or an album.
In the recent 4 or 5 years, I have reconsidered, rediscover for myself an old band from Manchester, from UK, called James. It was so impactful because album after album, there is the combination that we lost: melody, and poetry. We forgot about melody and poetry, and we moved to beat and text. This is the difference of the emotional storytelling. You need something to be able to touch your heart. So all of their songs, there is something very emotionally specific
James?
through the year. James, only James. It's a band for almost 30 years from Manchester. I personally got crazy just for the last 2-3 years. Follow them for 8 or 9 live shows around the world, taking the airplane and going on live, because also the live shows are emotional with all the poetry and the music. It's still rock, it's still crazy, but it can also touch you. And about the books, they're a big trouble, because the books it's a way that you receive the information in a very, very slow way compared to the nowadays fast-paced world.
Right.
And myself, I found in a difficulty to have enough time just for reading classical literature. It was a long time ago when I was absolutely stunned by all the books of John Steinbeck and all the authentic, original, and nasty stories that you can find, and your heart is crying. This is something that we lost. We became too much techno, too much beat. Now computer beat and lights, and the moment this art and the so-called immersive technology switch off the electricity, and it's all vanished.
I would expect you to know this short story by Solzhenitsyn called Gulag Archipelago.
Wow.
And it's a story of a laborer who is in a prison camp, but he still takes such extraordinary pride in his work. He doesn't want to leave the wall that he's working on until it's done. But he's risking getting the whole work crew in a lot of trouble, but he's right there. He's just finishing the bricklaying. And that story of a man finding contentment and purpose in the worst kind of condition, that's probably one of mine. And then there's another one by Viktor Frankl called Man's Search for Meaning, and it's his recollection of being in prison during the war and how people who could find meaning survived terrible conditions. That's
why in the recent years, as a director, there are so much amazing movies from Clint Eastwood. Why? Because all of them are based on authentic, bloody stories. Something that really happened, and it will touch your soul and your heart.
There's not a lot of special effects.
Yes, exactly, because the story is so strong, you don't need them. With too much special effects and fictional stories, they cannot be so, unfortunately, they cannot be so emotional. Because people, we are such a weird creatures. We are, in most situations, we are all separated, and we get united only on a funeral and when somebody got cancer. Right. We are very strange creatures. Otherwise, ego is number one, and we always try to be alone.
Right. So Clint Eastwood, he tells a good story.
All of his stories are amazing.
I've heard from people that work with him directly as his art director. When he's directing the crew and the moment, he doesn't say action. There's none of that. And apparently for reasons that when he started making these Westerns, you don't use a clapboard and yell action, it would startle the animals. But he just says, okay, you can start when you're ready. And in many cases, so in Hollywood, you're working crazy hours, but he wants people to start at a regular hour and finish at a regular hour and go home and have dinner with their families. So in many cases, this guy would say, we'd be doing a scene. And at the end of the scene, he'd say, okay, that's pretty good. And they go, no, wait, I think I could do it better. He goes, no, I think that's pretty good. We're just going to move along. and they would move along. And, but he tells very human stories.
Human touch. Yeah.
Anything recent that comes to mind in terms of movies or television that has been very impactful?
let me remember the name. It was an amazing one with DiCaprio. Was it something like the Blue Moon, or it was a story for an Indian family. I don't remember very well the name of the movie. Something about the moon. It was very emotional one.
I think when we were chatting before, you'd also mentioned this series called Afterlife, by Ricky Gervais, about this man who's lost his partner to cancer, and he just wants to give up. He doesn't see the point of it. And there's something I never learned. I learned watching that series that I could be in tears one moment and then start laughing, all in the same moment. He's an interesting storyteller.
But this is something specifically for Ricky Gervais. He's exceptionally good in this kind of combination of drama and jokes.
Yeah, with his father's in a nursing home with Alzheimer's, memory issues, profoundly. He doesn't know where he is, and he keeps asking him to bring his wife by next time he comes. But his father does have these moments of clarity that are just punch you in the chest. I can't even watch the shorts. I still get chewed up. But somebody just mentioned Killers of the Flower Moon. Is that it?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Okay, good.
A story without too much VFX, almost zero. Amazing actors, amazing story. The only issue that I'm joking in the recent years that maybe, I don't know, the directors, they were not very good at school, maybe going outside, smoking weed, I don't know. But they start making films for 3 hours and above. And I don't know who has the time and energy to stay and watch for more than 3 hours. A story that can be very well conveyed for 2 hours, 2 hours,
and
10
2 hours
minutes.
is enough.
Yes,
I'm going to go out on a limb, and growing up in the 70s and the 80s versus the kind of filmmaking that happened when technology became, where it was just blurring the line. You couldn't tell that things were not realistic, that giant robot wasn't real. And from a storytelling standpoint, I think what has changed is we are afraid to make moral judgments. And so if I'm watching a Clint Eastwood film from the 70s or 80s or 90s or recently, he's making moral judgments in those films, and he's making them for or against other people. But if you're a superhero movie fighting a robot, you're not really making a moral judgment. You're just shooting a robot. So it's like, I don't know how emotionally invested I get in those kinds of movies where you're just fighting robots. I would compare it if you saw the first Iron Man film versus the second Iron Man film. Fighting humans, making moral.
I have a great answer. I didn't watch them.
You've not watched any of these Marvel superhero. They don't resonate.
No Lord of the Rings, no such stuff. If you have 3 hours of special effects in the Lord of the Rings, it will never beat Indiana Jones first with zero computers.
First Indiana Jones, yeah.
Yes, zero computers. Crazy stories. If I run it now, I still cannot believe how those tricky stories are created, because now everybody talking the AI. It's very important to know AI is coming from artificial intelligence. Artificial, this word is extremely important. It's artificial, and it will be artificial forever. There is something that the AI cannot be weird, cannot be crazy. It cannot surprise you.
Oh, it's only going to do what's predictable. Interesting. because the artist wants to do what's not predictable. The artist wants to break the pattern, but the
Exactly.
AI is looking for a pattern. Is there any
Exactly.
appropriate use? People are shocked that you've never seen the Lord of the Rings films. Because that is a series, as a book that made severe moral judgments inside of that universe about what is good and what is evil. And they're not fighting robots. Is there any proper, appropriate use of AI as a post-production tool or as a storytelling tool that you feel is legitimate if guided by people with experience and judgment and empathy?
It is here, and it is here to stay, and it's our responsibility how we will use it properly to support our work, to speed up processes, to enhance our results. In terms of creativity, I have two friends, film directors, nowadays experimenting heavily with AI, and all of their scenes, the separate scenes, are equally beautiful. But with one of them, I'm not checking the stories; they are not appealing. They're boring. The other one, amazing.
That's it. They're boring.
So again, the big difference comes from the personality that is operating with all those tools.
It has to be
The
story
big
driven.
difference will always be coming from the personalities, because it's not just a prompt. A prompt adds some people here walking, laughing. No, you have to experience life to imagine how a company is acting around the barbecue, how they couple of them making the barbecue, the rest are on the far end just having a little chit chat about somebody's ass or t-shirt. You have to get those life experiences prior using the automatic prompts and buttons. And shall we ever work together or have an interesting conversation is there is a trained automatic machine? No. At some point you can recognize it, I can recognize it. Now all the posts, social media, what's coming based on AI, text, just block. I want to find out what you are thinking, your mindset. I want to see your vision. It's madness. It's disgusting madness to be attention seekers based on some new digital tools. Sooner or later, it's clear that you are a silly attention seeker, and your parents will not be proud of the way you use your brain.
So there has to be, I mean, we had these kind of conversations with technology when it was hand rendering, and then it was the technology was giving way to Photoshop. Oh, that's not art, it's Photoshop. But if there's this element of humanity and empathy, and maybe part of the challenge, part of the thing I don't like about AI is it feels so easy, and there's not enough of a struggle, and maybe because I'm tempted to be satisfied with good enough very quickly, and
that's the big challenge. Now let's go back to the beginning when we were talking about business. What I can recognize recently, because it looks fairly easy and significantly cheaper, many clients become happy of good enough or even below good enough. I found
because it's
out
fast.
Because it's fast and cheap.
Right.
I found out that more and more sign-offs and more deliverables are accepted in mediocre level, but maybe it's so cheap, some tokens, some $100, something like that, and it's okay. The hunger of the exceptional results through all the image, through all the animation, to all the pixel, everything somehow it's gone. This is a big challenge for everyone at the moment. I think that there is such a big hype that something easy is coming. Do it yourself, very cheap. Okay, we will sacrifice the quality, the story, the emotional part. It will do the work. And that's why I call it that more than 50% of the business is wiped out. It does not exist anymore.
I have seen occasions working with one particular customer, and they're enamored with AI for ideation. But the way they're getting there, the process is to get into the conference room with clay and pieces of cardboard and wood blocks, and they're composing analog models again, which is something that they haven't had time to do for 20 years. And then they're photographing that and ideating on top of that photograph. But they're starting with analog form finding, which kind of went away when we started 3D modeling. I find that's a analog process. The thing about the analog process, Dimitar, is that it was so inefficient to change things that it forced me to think about it a lot, because once I committed it to pen and ink on paper, it was going to be hard to change it. So there was a lot of thinking. Now it seems like the thinking happens very fast because we're comfortable knowing that, well, we just Control Z, or I can go into Photoshop and change it. Like, how do you find the rigor when the tools become so facile? And my joke is that, you're AI, I'm AI, we're just carbon based. You have a room full of people. You have a business made of carbon based artificial intelligence, but they have interesting lives. They have interesting narratives. So how do we work with the new tool in a way that still embraces the empathy and the rigor and the humanity and the authenticity of what we're trying to accomplish, and don't get seduced by fast and easy?
We don't have to surrender. We have to continue controlling our desires, and to continue our hunger for perfection, and to achieve the desired storytelling. We had recently a couple of very interesting experiences. One of it, the first one, was with a very big world-known practice about massive projects and master plan. Let's collaborate together to try to use as much as possible AI tools, and to see what will be the result, because nobody was really clear. So after 1 month of back and forth, design process and visual part, after 1 month, the design team canceled it and said, okay, this is actually not useful, because in a traditional way we would finish in 2-3 weeks. Let's redo the project manually, the old way. Okay, at the end of the day, we always use some enhancements here and there.
Of course, sure.
There is no lie. This thing is here forever. But this was a great example that when you want to be a part of the design and you are thinking, then the process of all those changes, all those adjustments during the process, they become extremely time consuming and not something easy, not very fast. At the end of the day, it's the same timeline, and at the end of the day, you need highly skilled professionals to manage those new tools. This was one of the examples. The other one, I just forgot it. I will recall maybe shortly.
But it seems that the goal, the temptation is to go fast.
I recalled it. The other one, the client has been so picky about the precise details of the stories because all the images are full of human interaction.
Yeah.
That it's with the old tools, it's not possible to be achieved. But every single personality, the way they interact, it took weeks of work for every single eye and gesture. And so the example is that the client demands became extremely high, but this forced us to learn new methods, to put extra efforts, and actually everybody are super happy of the final result. It was not faster and it was not cheaper. It was the same money, the same time, but the final result was better, something that we were not able to achieve before with 3D and with Photoshop and with rendering engines. We were not able to achieve it.
But it was still rigorous. And it wasn't about saving money and time. It was about telling a better story.
The initial thought, every time, the initial thought is we will save money. And the end of the day, if this is your initial thought, at the end, it costs double. You know, my father was telling before, imagine you are using expensive hardware combined with expensive software, and you have an expensive, high-profile professional. How you can imagine there will be a cheap product? It just does not
it's
work.
It's not going to happen.
It is not going to happen. Yes, no way.
You'll just use the same amount of time to be more rigorous.
Yes, and you can jump over limitations that we had a year ago. Now we can do better things.
There's this story by I think it's Ed Catmull that tells this story. Before Pixar, back in the olden days, there was a guy named John Lasseter, and his dream, like he went to university with Tim Burton, a bunch of other creative people that have done well in Hollywood. And when John Lasseter, he had an internship at Disney, and he was very interested in using computers to tell stories. And his pitch to leadership was, we should use computers to make movies. And they did a little bit, but they said, well, is this going to save us time and money from doing hand-drawn cells? And he said, no, but we could tell amazing stories. And they canceled his internship, and he had this, he was down in the belly of a whale, to use a story narrative frame. And he didn't know what his plan B was. His dream was working for Disney. And he was like, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do now. And he ran into Ed Catmull, and he's like, you should come over to see what we're doing at Pixar. And that led to they were doing a lot of commercial work at the time. And that was when Steve Jobs was saving Pixar. But it ended up leading to Toy Story, which was not the most amazing. I mean, at the time, it's like, yeah, the special effects are really good, but it was a narrative, and it's an old story of two people who don't like each other having to go off into the belly of the whale. And ultimately, Disney bought Pixar for $7.2 billion. And the joke was they had to pay that money to get John Lasseter back because they had the guy who wanted to tell a story. And they were thinking, how do we save money? And I don't know how technology, unless you're using it to tell a better story, I don't know how you'll be successful, or how you'll do something that you feel proud of, how you'll feel purposeful. If you're just using the technology to create shortcuts. And if the AI is about creating a shortcut, I don't know that I'd be proud of my work. But if it's about coming up with subtle things that tell stories that maybe I didn't imagine at first yet.
Now, A very good question. Very good question. With do you know that there are a lot of people on earth that actually don't care about proud of your work or not proud of your work, or does it matter or does not matter, or what is the emotional relation? All
Really?
of their dreams is just to deliver and get paid. And those people are billions and billions. This make
I
the
don't believe
difference.
it. I think they're suffering because they haven't actualized something they're proud of. And there's no shortage of movies that tell the story about the person who's grinding away at something they don't care about. And somehow in the story, they're given the opportunity to go beyond. And that's a Cinderella story. There are people doing it, but I think they have dreams. Like, I think even in my career, there's times where you just got to get the job done because there's bills at the end of the month. But
But
that's not what you
imagine
aspire to.
you're talking about dreams. Maybe there are limitations for those dreams based of the
Okay,
history,
fair
how you
enough.
grown up, education. So maybe the dreams are lower, and then with lower dreams, lower imagination, AI puts you on the scene in a situation when you will never have been able to be on that scene.
Right.
Now these machines are helping you to be somewhere around, and actually to spoil the business environment. But this type of education, sometimes we are not capable of, because we
Right.
have to bombarding the world and online and meeting and talking and education and to be mother and father for thousands and millions of people. That in your life there should be also other values
Right.
which are artistical values connected to your own personality, your own skills, that you have. You are a creator. You're the small creator that is able to think and to do something.
Maybe
This kind of a mindset.
this kind of person who's just grinding away because that's their highest and best use. Maybe they will find AI and be able to use it to do things that they otherwise wouldn't be capable of, and they'll tell amazing stories.
Hopefully.
Hmm.
It's we have to be modest, and maybe we can predict something, but maybe not. Generally, maybe in the middle of our conversation, when we were talking about losing the skills of the craftsmanship and creativity, maybe the whole world and industry become lower and closer to the good enough and commercially good enough,
Right.
instead of excelling dreams for something exceptional.
Of not being satisfied with good enough, of always
Yes.
pushing.
Yes. It depends on the Patreons. Hopefully
The
the
patron.
Patreons will
Yeah.
be extremely demanding. We can only hope about it.
Look, I call good design as a commodity now. I mean, there are kings and princes and presidents that use an iPhone, right? That, could only be available, hundreds of years ago. Only the gilded 1% of 1% of 1% could have these amazing things. And now I can have an iPhone, and Mick Jagger can have an iPhone. And it's like, so what is it that makes us actually, I want to know what industrial things from a design standpoint do you think has been designed rigorously? Like we talked about music and books and movies. Are there cars that you find, or or shipbuilding or?
A couple of years ago, I attended exceptional event. This one particularly in London, International Property Awards, in which there was an opening speech of a famous car designer, Frank Stevenson. And I was not aware of his history and his achievements professionally. I just knew that there was some kind of designer that made the big changes in Mini, then in BMW. The presentation in terms of design was amazing. The way of thinking, how this design interacts with a human being. I'm talking about the designs of the new Mini, of the concept for the BMW X5, for Ferrari F40. You can check for Frank Stevenson. Now I'm following him on social media and everywhere. He's doing something about similar to the SpaceX, something about the private capsules for spaceships, something like that.
Right.
But the whole presentation, it touched me as a history of a man with a great designs, which are different type, because you see the new Mini, then you see the BMW X5, then you have a Ferrari. By the way, he's behind this for 10 years, head of design of McLaren from the very start of the very start of the McLaren cars. For 10 years, he was head of design from the creation till the moment for McLaren. So you can see different fields with a great designer telling some stories. But where did we end it? We ended with what was the name? Was it a space truck or some kind of truck of Tesla? I don't remember.
SpaceX?
No, not about the area. There are Tesla Model 2, 3, 6, and there is one truck. Tesla truck.
There's a Cybertruck.
Cybertruck.
Yep.
This is the end. This is the end of the automotive design. But the whole presentation, it finished. Do you know how he finished? They asked him amazing questions. What did he expect? He said, the good thing is that what's coming, I will not be alive to see. I don't want to see it, and I'm lucky that I will not see it. So in terms of design, the whole presentation from the hand sketches, then the CAD softwares, this was something I remember more than 3 years ago, maybe in Savoy Hotel in London. It was amazing presentation.
Mm. And it's about the process and the story arc.
Yes, and those things that he showed, you can feel that there is real designer thought behind it. All the lines. No
Cybertruck, because we were going to send you a Cybertruck. We were going to send you a Cybertruck as a thank you for this webinar, but now we'll have to.
Let me tell you something. Just a couple of weeks ago, I ordered my first Starlink Mini.
Oh my goodness. Do you really need the internet everywhere you go?
Yeah, because I have some relatively long periods in my retired career now.
Pre-retired, yeah.
Places where I don't have the internet. But what about everything is great? By the way, service, delivery, everything amazing. What about the charging device? Have you seen it?
Or is it the little brick, the small brick?
The small brick with the sharp edges like a Cybertruck. It's dangerous at home. You can kill your kids. So
drop it on your
people,
foot.
they call themselves designers. I said it multiple times before. You cannot be designer. You cannot be a real designer without exceptional hand sketching skills. Nowadays, universities and courses everywhere for different type of designs, education, without application about selection process based on hand sketching. What kind of a designer you can be without hand sketching? I'm not able to understand it. I just don't know.
I want you to come to North Carolina, and I'm going to rent a Cybertruck, and we're going to talk.
Thank you so much, and don't forget the barbecue. I still remember.
Oh, amazing barbecue! A rivalry of barbecue would be amazing. That's a whole thing. Yeah, I don't. When I saw the Cybertruck in photos, it was just so shocking. When I saw it in person, yeah, there's some things that I would change. When I drove it, I was amazed. The handling was so profoundly good. And then, but the thing is, it looks so plain because it's like there's not a lot of buttons and things inside of it that I'm used to. And I've got old cars, but I don't know. It seems to be very stripped back. I don't know what you compare it to. It's the Model T of electric vehicles. It's very stripped back as far as a car goes. And we have remember how the first cars, when they came out, they looked like horseless carriages and they had lanterns on the front and big wheels made, with wooden spokes.
But
and it's like,
beautiful
it was
design.
too shocking.
Because we were talking about design, operationally, it can be great. How should I say? User-friendly interface. Maybe it's great.
Yeah.
But there is something that is called design, which is called aesthetics.
Right. I don't mind that. I like that you don't like it. I just want you to see it in person, because I think that would be an interesting to be a fly on the wall during that kind of conversation.
I saw him personally very closely, one golden one in Dubai, gold plated.
Yeah, I don't actually call them cars. I think what Tesla has done, it's actually an iPad with wheels.
Yes.
We'll see.
Good point.
So if somebody wanted to, if someone aspired to work with your company, what's really important? Is it the technical skills? Can you teach the technical skills? Is it a curiosity? Is it a combination of them? Obviously, they have to fit into a team of very high performing creative people. But if someone wants to get into that kind of environment, what is it that you're looking for?
This is a great question, because something has changed in the recent 1 year. Our philosophy has always been just to recognize the personality, the human being, the curiosity, the professional hunger. Then we will help in-house to develop your skills, to adopt the company culture, and to become a valuable part of the team. This process is slow and expensive process, and we are always targeting long-term. So that's why we always believed in this type of human investment,
right?
Targeting a long-term. The thing is that in the recent 1 or 2 years, globally in our field, it became so competitive at a low level, at the beginners, the juniors, the beginners, became so competitive. So at some point, you are not able to help everyone to start from scratch and to grow through the ranks of your company. And in a competitive environment, as I called it, a bloodbath competition, this approach, unfortunately, does not work at the moment.
Mm.
people that are starting, the starting level at the entry level in the industry now quickly shift in a significantly higher level than what it was before just a year or two ago. So just before trying to start your professional career or to try to join to a big team, now you are forced to develop an exceptional portfolio at early stages of your lonely career, then to be recognized as a combination of the curiosity, the personality, how you match together with people. It's a little bit sad. It's a little bit sad because it's an exceptional, stressful process for the younger generation trying to jump on that boat. But that's the only way. Unfortunately, unfortunately,
do you think they're going to struggle, to have this kind of profoundly beautiful, professional-looking portfolio? But it sounds like if they come in to your team, they're going to have some humility, and they're going to have to be teachable. If they already know everything, right? You guys are going to see things as deficiencies in their portfolio where they're doing amazing work, but there's subtleties that are important that their youth and their experience, they haven't got the experience yet. And if they're not teachable, it's going to be hard for them to fit in.
Yeah. This is all part of the selection process. It's very well communicated from the beginning that doesn't matter who you are joining to a massive team with certain processes in-house. You have to be able, as you said, to be teachable, to be adaptable, to match the environment. And luckily, there are such people. They are irreplaceable. Recently, we have some super smart new colleagues, 100% superstars in what we are doing, but they have been open to adapt.
They're open.
And when you are at a high level, you can adapt for 1 week. Usually when you are in a beginning level, then it's very difficult to adapt.
Is it hard when you think you know everything and then you get into a group and they're saying, yeah, you're pretty good, but you have a lot to learn?
But I had this experience just a year ago. Amazing quality, amazing stories. Every single week I was listening, before in my life, in the previous we were doing like that. But this is the past. We cannot change the past. You are at the new. And for 1 year, I'm always listening. But in the past, it was like that. In the previous place, then my previous. Let's talk about the future, not about the past. Let's talk about the future. So, and such kind of situations, they have a set stories. Then you part ways, unfortunately.
Right.
It's tough.
You have to focus on the future. It doesn't seem, the architectural space has now the ability to create the kinds, they would have had a specialist 30 years ago, somebody that was probably, 30 years ago, maybe still rendering by hand. Their visualization has become more, I don't want to say commoditized, but it's fast. You can get into it so quickly now, with probably since the late 90s, mid 90s to today, they start, using computers to generate renderings. It became more approachable, but it still seems like at the highest tier, even the best architecture firms in the world are using you guys because of something extra that you bring to the table that they can't hire locally. You're still in this special tier. And I don't know that that'll ever go away. You're just going to have this environment where there's going to be a 90% commodity. The commodity is going to get better and better. But the teams that you work with are the best in the world.
those, as you said, but those 10%, you have to be ready to meet the demands and to push yourself higher, because those 10%, they will reposition as a higher level, higher standards of demands. And we have to be adaptable very fast.
Right.
Things are changing extremely fast. No way, no time for losing. And by the way, one of the difficulties at the moment is that we are not able precisely to assess the situations, because there are so many volatile factors combined. It's new young generation which has much more technical knowledge in-house in the architectural studios. There are new softwares which are combined with the BIM softwares, allow those young people in-house the architecture studios to create day-to-day beautiful works enhanced with the AI. But you are not completely sure what's the amount of the demands, because bombs are all around the world. The energy changing. Some are crazy about renewable electrical stuff. Others about oil, currency fluctuations. So we at the moment, we don't have sustainable environment to be able to assess the impact of the new technologies, because there are so many things mixed at the moment, and it's very complicated to assess the reality, the impact of every single technical detail.
Yeah, if the highest and best technology is being used to do trivial things, maybe it's not good for the environment. Yeah.
Sometimes maybe we just surrender. You don't know exactly. I learned from a client ago. He retired. A famous architect, Peter Vaughan. He said nowadays the design studios and the visualizers, we are put into unrealistic environment with unrealistic expectations.
Interesting. Okay.
The only thing that we can do is just keep walking. We just keep walking, and the things somehow will arrange. We just keep walking. That's it.
There's usually a reaction to it when things become automated and too polished and too shiny. There is a rough reset that happens. I can only compare it to something like, I grew up in the 70s when it went from disco to punk overnight. Like, we were ready for punk. We were ready for Van Halen. We'd have enough disco. And all of a sudden it became rough and ready and in your face. And maybe architecture's where it's not, in some ways, modern architecture is beautiful as an object, but it's very, it doesn't have the right touch and feel. It's beautiful as an object. It's not like going into an old cathedral. It's not that. And so maybe we're going to pivot and become a little more authentic.
But it will not be a surprise, completely honest. It's a stressful process for the teams. I can see in the eyes of the people those new challenges, new requirements. It's stressful. Many of the classical artists that were working on hand sketching concepts and then finishing those concepts in the post production together with the 3D teams. They are all stressed. What will happen? Not only because changing on the new tools, but how the things will develop. So I may admit that it's stressful for everyone because there was a lot of talk in the recent 1 year, but I may say that now you can feel it. You can feel the knife to your body. You have to make it for tomorrow. The change, as you said, overnight. No more adjustments and soft talks. So we are working more. We are working more actively with the teams at the human level. At the human level to convey confidence, and believe and relax that we will go through that process. And
I
we
don't
will
know,
make.
Dimitar. I'm not convinced that beautiful things happen quickly. I'm convinced almost every time in life there has to be a journey. It has to go slow in order
You,
for it to feel valuable. There has to be a struggle.
there is a struggle. Now the winning, the only way that we can go forward is to try to squeeze that period of the journey, to make it a short journey, and a certain short amount of time for all those the stressed evolution, the revolution rock. We have to try to make it better for the teams and for the people. Otherwise, the rest of the option during the history is that one monster is dying and new was born. So this is a revolution.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. That's a big idea. I can tell you, I mean, you travel a lot, and I see in travels for business. Actually, I'll venture this. There are a lot of old cathedrals and temples, and from the outside, they're not always very impressive. But from the inside, it's humbling. And something happened in architecture where you see the building from the outside, it looks amazing. And then you go inside and it feels very mundane. And I tell you, I think the same thing happened in a lot of, where the outside is beautiful and flashy and maybe wearing a red dress and high heels. But if here, there's something missing,
Because architecture also became commodity. That's the sad thing.
You have to attract people by the outside. But I've been in some of the most amazing looking buildings from the outside, and you get inside and it's kind of disorienting, and it's like, okay. And then I've been in, I think the most severe example was it was the cathedral it was in Portugal. Where was Seville? And from the outside, it's from the outside. I mean, it's going to be, it's interesting, but it's not profound from the outside. But the inside is profound. The tomb of Christopher Columbus. There's a cathedral inside of a cathedral, and I was there with my youngest, and he just stood for an hour and stared at all of that and was like, "I can't believe we created this. Like, this is amazing." And I don't know where architecture, we started making the outside flashy, like a flashy car, but you can't really drive it fast because the engine's shit. It's not, it's very seductive, but it doesn't have that timelessness to it. So I don't know. I think you should see it through. Let's see what's coming around the corner. All this technology that makes people think everybody can do it.
This is exactly what I'm trying to do from the morning to the evening, to see through, to see through, to think about it. But as I shared with you, it's a little bit complicated to properly assess it, as there is so much mixture, a salad of shit at the moment.
We're in our disco phase.
Yes.
Yeah, we're just trying to see through the technology and the glitz and the glamour and the shiny and get back to the authentic and the story.
Yeah. It really depends. It really depends uh, how deep we are ready to create to create those stories. The way to be successful, you have to live it. You have to live it. You have to experience love. You have to be outside with friends day after day. You have to experience, then you are able to recreate, to be really creative, to think about the specific stories. So it's also a part of us to explore the streets. We have to explore the streets and to leave it outside. Too much texting.
Like living here. Yeah, put your feet on the grass, go outside, have a drink, make barbecue, spend time with friends. And sometimes out of the blue, without thinking about things, you ever get an idea about something you weren't thinking about at the time by doing something else. Like maybe you'll come to your epiphany about where to go, but it will come when you're not working.
Yeah, maybe it's a good time. It's a good time actually, because there was more than 10 years of exceptional business growth for everyone.
Right.
So focused on projects and revenues are also killing the dreams and creativity. Some of the best things that we talked about was when 2008, 2010, during the recession, almost no work.
Right.
So there was availability to sit and to try to be creative and to make something beautiful and extraordinary for the time being, of course.
Sure.
Maybe,
but it's a stress that makes you be really creative.
You know what Sting said, good music comes from suffering. That's why he does not have a single hit for the last 20 years.
Who is this?
Sting, Gordon Sumner.
Good stories come from miserable things, getting through a miserable. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
maybe that's
after,
what maybe in a way that's interesting. Modernity, being able to flick a light and having illumination, or move a tap and have hot water. We try to escape the suffering, but it's in vain. There's going to be suffering. Even in the cleanest modern conditions, there's going to be grief. So how do we use it to do good work? How do we do it to have an interesting life? I think you're gonna figure out what it is.
I think that in reality, good things are coming based on the fact that the real tough times and the real hunger is coming everywhere, which will force all of us to recall the moral lessons, as you saw, the moral lessons, moral judgments,
right?
To recall the good things in day to day, and to open our minds, because we lost it. That's the truth. The world is a fantastic place, beautiful place for everyone, never been better before.
Right.
And this is killing the passion for chasing
Where's the struggle?
new achievements. Yes, we need a little bit of a struggle, maybe a lot.
Thank you so much, Dimitar. I can't believe I've had the privilege of chatting with you. This is fantastic. And I really, truly hope next time you're in the US, we can get together and continue. Let the conversation go. Yep.
I remember very well.
Okay.
Cyber Truck and Barbecue.
Yes, at least the Cybertruck and Bob. I'm going to bring you to a very boring place that's authentic.
Very nice. Thank you so
All
much
right.
for the opportunity. Thank you, really.
Thank you.
So much.
Joanna, are you there? Do you have any questions? I've been watching the questions pop up, and I've tried to weave them in.
Amazing.
But Dimitar has been beyond gracious with his time and certainly
Absolutely.
passion.
It
I
was
don't
a
even
really
want to
nice
get into
chat
modern
about this.
art.
Hopefully it was not boring. I don't know. Hopefully it was not boring.
Not at
No,
all.
not
Not
in
at
a
all.
single
Speaking from
minute.
the heart. Thank you.
I have so much silly stories. Phil, you said it. Even me, we are still very careful. We are very careful what is appropriate, what is not appropriate.
Right.
Thank you
It's
so
okay.
much, Joanna. Thank you so much. Phil, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
See you
you.
Have
later.
a great day. Thank you so much. Cheers. Bye-bye.